Hey guys, does your Nintendo Switch screen look all busted up and scratched like this one? And would you like it to look nice and fresh and clean like this one? Well, that's really easy to do. All you need to do is replace the Digitizer, and they cost £9 on Amazon. Really nice and easy. So stay tuned, I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So here's the device, and as you can see, there's a big glue stain in the middle, and someone has tried to scrape it off using a scourer, which has of course scraped the device. Now this is a very sensitive screen which we are going to replace. Here's another device which I have with a bit of a battered screen as well, and the device itself is battered. I'm gonna in a later video refurbish the whole device, but let's just get back to our current device with the glue. So the tools you're going to need are a Phillips 000. You'll also need a tri-wing screwdriver, which is a Y00, and you'll need a solid, sturdy pair of tweezers. And you're also going to need a double-ended spudger and a triangular spudger, also known as a pick. And you will also need a microfiber cloth just to wipe down the LCD before we reapply the Digitizer. So the first thing we're going to do is flip the device face forwards upside down, and we're going to take out these 4 screws using the tri-wing Y00. Now I would highly recommend keeping a mat like mine, or at least having several different containers, because you will be working with a whole variety of different shapes and sizes of screws. Now we are done with the tri-wing screwdriver, we are going to head over to the Phillips screwdriver, and we are going to remove all of the screws from the left side rail, all of the screws from the right side rail. We're also going to remove some screws from the front and the back. I can see some are already missing, which is an indicator that someone has already been fiddling around with the inside of this switch. It can be expected that someone has been playing around with it. That's fine. I bought it secondhand on eBay, and I intend on selling it for a lot more than I bought it for. I would also like to point out that you do not have to remove all the screws on both sides of the rails. The only reason I've decided to do that is to remove the rails and dust underneath them, because I'm taking the screen off as it is. I might as well clean the inside and make sure I have a nice dust-free refurbished device. While taking this device apart, I did notice there were a few missing screws, but that's okay because I bought a spare screw kit off of Amazon. I'll put the link in the description. Now it is also worthwhile mentioning that there would also normally be a screw underneath the kickstand where the SD slot is. However, this device is also missing that screw because whoever took it apart last time, well, they didn't put it back. So we're almost done here, and we're ready to take the shell apart. Just put it down on a solid surface and hinge it from one side, and you'll feel it come apart. Now just pop the back plate somewhere secure. We're going to grab it later. Now off screen, I gave the rails to the Joy-Cons just a little polish. While I'm here, I'm going to reattach them later when I put the case back together. Now we want to remove this little screw over here. Now this screw keeps intact the SD card reader, so we're going to get our double-ended spudger and we're going to lift very, very gently underneath and pull it out. And you pull it up like a plug. Don't pull it down, pull it up. And there it is. That's the SD card reader. We'll pop it over there for safekeeping. And now it's time to take off the back shield, and I can see someone has been tampering with this device because it's already missing some screws. However, on your Switch you'll need to remove this screw up on the top left here. On my one it's already missing. So let's hit the next screw. It's this one over here. And the next screw is just over here. And would you believe it, we're missing another screw, but that's fine. So do the next one, which will be this one. And last but not least, we're going to take this screw out and we'll be able to remove the back shield. And that's it. You can now take off the back shield, be very careful, and put it somewhere safe. And now use the spudger to disconnect the battery by lifting up the cable. Do not pull it down, lift it up. And now we're going to use a spudger to lift this tab very, very gently. And we're going to get a pair of tweezers and we're going to pull out the cable for the digitizer. This is for the old digitizer, which is about to be removed. Now that the digitizer is disconnected, we can remove it entirely. So we're going to flip the device onto its front. Now with the power button facing upwards, we know that the digitizer screen cable is on the right hand side, and we need to know this because when we pull our spudger underneath to remove the screen, we don't want to catch it and do any damage. Now I hate to say it guys, but that was the easy bit. Now we need to actually remove the screen and we need to warm up the adhesive which is underneath it. And to do that we need a heat source. I'm using my fiance's hairdryer. But there are specialist heat guns that you can get. This worked perfectly fine for me. What we're going to do is we're going to get the heat gun and we're going to apply heat to the left hand side. What this is going to do is this is going to soften up the adhesive and it's going to allow us to get a pick and a spudger underneath. Once you get the pick inside there, start prying it upwards and applying more heat to soften up that adhesive. It's a bit of a tricky maneuver and the pick may fall out, but just keep going at it. Now it's worthwhile noting that you should not allow your pick or your spudger to go too far past the black line, and that's because you might scrape the LCD. So keep applying heat as I'm doing here. Use the pick and slowly pry apart the digitizer from the LCD and from the device. Now using your pick and your spudger, you just make your way all the way around. Keep applying heat and take your time. Be as slow as you can. If you rush this, you can snap the digitizer and you'll have a broken device. So slowly work your way around, apply heat when necessary to soften the adhesive, and you will eventually be able to remove the whole of the digitizer. And there we have it guys, we lifted from left to right, removing the digitizer cable, and here we have a broken screen. We're going to replace it with a new one. At this time it is very important to be as careful as possible because you have the LCD completely exposed and unprotected. Now it's completely up to you how you proceed from here. You can use your own adhesive or you can use the one which is on the old digitizer. I would highly recommend using the one that's on the old digitizer because it is on a strip and it is very powerful, and it also will allow you to perhaps in the future, if required, remove the screen again if you get a scratch. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a heat gun, we're going to apply some heat, and we're just going to get our pliers out and we're going to start to peel it away. And it's an adhesive strip, it's quite strong, it's plastic with adhesive and it's in the same shape and mold that we need for our digitizer. So we keep applying heat and we keep pulling on it. Now it'll come off in one gluey strip and we're going to reapply it to the back of our new digitizer. So we're going to get our heat gun, we're going to add some more heat, we're going to soften up the glue, and we're going to keep removing this strip. It doesn't matter if it rips, it's okay, as long as you can get it around the whole shape of the digitizer, we're all good. Removing this old adhesive is quite satisfying. Now we're going to add it to the new digitizer. Now, once we have got all the adhesive applied to the back of the Digitizer screen, what we need to do is get our microfiber cloth and wipe off any dust which may have accumulated on the LCD screen. Once we are certain that it's clean, we're going to take the new Digitizer and we're going to slip the cable through the hole on the right hand side, and we're going to place the screen very carefully in place, and we're going to push down firmly on all sides. And here we have it, guys. We have a brand new Digitizer, a brand new screen, no scratches, no issues. So it's time for reassembly. Now we will reconnect the battery, so we'll grab this cable and push it into its plug socket. Do not pull down, do not pull in any direction, it just needs to be pushed down. Now once we've done that, we will get the Digitizer cable and we will reinsert it to the motherboard, and we will grab the hinge and push it back down, locking it in place. Now once all the components are connected, we put the shield back on and we screw it in place. And I think from here, guys, you don't really need my commentary, because everything we've done, we're just going to do in reverse. So we're going to put all the screws back in place. And now it's time to install the SD card reader. So we'll make sure it's in the right orientation. We'll plop it down gently and we'll push it down with our spudger. And once it's secure, we're going to grab a screw and we're going to just screw it back in place. Now the rest of this video is going to be reassembly, and you've just seen the deassembly, so I'm going to speed it up because you know what to do. But I just thought I'd point this out. If you have a look on the right hand side, if you do not want to disconnect the rails to clean them, you can actually just remove this central screw, and that will allow you to take the case off without taking the rails off. And there we have it, guys. We have a reassembled device and the screen is looking beautiful. This is a really simple tutorial. I have a couple more coming out which will show you how to replace the rails, how to replace the back, how to replace the kickstand, and how to work on the Joy-Cons. So stick around, guys, if you want to learn how to refurbish these devices, because I've been doing it for a while now and I've been making myself a little bit of money on eBay. Until next time, guys, see you later.